You know that music? That's the sound of shopping for car insurance the old way. Life's too short for that. Jerry makes car insurance easier. Open the app, answer a few questions, and Jerry pulls up to 20 quotes from top insurers. Then choose and switch right in the app. No re-entering your information. No saxophone solos. And Jerry keeps checking rates for you. So you're not back on hold 6 months from now. Visit jerry.ai/libsyn today.
So you're running out of closet space. The good news? You don't need to stop shopping. You just need to start selling with The RealReal. The RealReal is the world's largest and most trusted resource for authenticated luxury resale. Whether it's that mini bag that can't even fit your phone or those boots you never fully broke in, The RealReal handles everything from photography and copywriting to shipping and pricing. So you can just sit back, get paid, and make room for things that actually feel like you. And with 10,000 plus new arrivals every single day from top designers like Prada, Celine, Louis Vuitton, and Loewe, all for up to 90% off retail, you're bound to find something perfectly on brand to fill that extra closet space with. Plus, this May only, you can get an extra $200 to shop when you sell for the first time. Make room for what feels like you. Go to therealreal.com to start selling and get your extra $200 to keep shopping at therealreal.com. That's therealreal.com. Terms apply.
Emotionally unavailable.
Okay, welcome, Joe, to Emotionally Unavailable.
How are you?
I'm good. My sound's weird, but that's okay. It's not loud.
Is it something on my end?
I don't think so. It's always like this, and then
Okay.
it'll fix itself in the studio, but it's still annoying. Okay. You have a very interesting profile. You really do. And I like/don't like whenever I get so excited that I don't know where to start, because that's how I felt about yours. I was like, oh shit, that's a lot. Wow. To be honest, the very first couple of sentences, I think I was like, I wonder why I said yes to this. And then I was like, oh, here we go. Yeah. Because I mean, I was like, jazz, what? And then I kept reading and I was like, oh my God. So first of all, I can already tell I just am going to fall in love with you.
Feeling is mutual.
Because here's the deal is I have had trouble with super sincere men on my show. I've had trouble with men wanting to be vulnerable. I have gotten very selective over the last 6 months. I don't know if you read any of my shit, but I lost a kid in December.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And it made me very intolerant of a lot of things. And the number one thing that happened immediately was anybody not willing to answer my questions in a vulnerable way. Like, it pissed me off so bad. So I actually, anyway, not to make myself sound like a horrible bitch, but that's just, I had a couple in a row of men specifically that just, it was too much for me. So then I just started saying no to everybody. But after I was reading all your stuff, I was like, oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so where I'm going to start, I've warred with myself over and over, like, man, I already know we're probably not going to get into some of the stuff I would love to. So I'm thinking, because I have a client after this, so I can't go over, but
Yeah, it's
I'm
fine.
thinking you just come back, okay? So that's my thought. So whatever we don't cover today, and of course at the end, I'll stop myself and then I'll let you say where to find you and whatever, but I think we should have you back. Anyway, okay.
Sounds great.
Taking a risk saying that in the beginning. All right. So what I want to know first is, where are you from? Like, where were you raised and what was your like core family unit?
I was born, raised, and still live in suburban New Jersey, about 25 miles west of New York City.
Okay.
So when you say my core family unit, you mean what I grew up with?
Yes.
So I grew up in a pretty stable home. I had a father and a mother, and I had a sister that was 3 years older, and a sister that is, I don't know why I say was, they're still, very, very with us and very close to me. A sister that is 3 years older than me, and a sister that is 1 year younger than me. And we all live about 20 minutes, so within 20 minutes away from each other. So,
wow. Do you see each other often though?
So they all work together. So they see each other almost every day, believe it or not. I know, it's crazy. And I see them pretty regularly, I would say. If not every
I
week,
love
then darn
that.
close to it. Yeah.
Are your parents still alive?
They're alive and well, still working full time. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And
My
how old are
father,
you?
I'm 47. I'll be 48 in a few weeks.
How lucky.
I'm
Okay.
so blessed. I can't even tell you.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What do they do that they all work together?
So they all of them together own a music company. It has 2 locations. They sell musical instruments and rent musical instruments and repair musical instruments, mostly for schools, but for individuals as well. Accessories, lessons, classes, stuff
So
like
you're all
stuff like that.
musical.
Yes, my sisters are appreciators of music, and my mother is an appreciator of music. My father and I both are professional performers, and I am a full-time, in addition to being a professional performer, I am a full-time school music teacher as well.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
I teach high school chorus.
How fun. My daughter this
Yes.
year, she's 12. Well, she just turned 12. She was in 6th
Okay.
grade this past year. And this was her first year in choir and band. She loves the trombone. And she was this little
Awesome.
natural. I knew choir, like I've heard her sing, and I was like, girl, I knew she was going to do great at that. Trombone, I was like, why did you pick the biggest one? Like, I was so, I was like,
The biggest and one of the
sure.
loudest.
Yes. And she is actually so talented at it. I've been
Awesome.
so impressed with her. Like, totally a natural. I've actually had fun watching her progress through her learning. It's really cute. But I was like, not the piano or something.
No flute for you?
No, I did say that because I said, honey, you like riding the bus. Do you know how many countless children I've seen carrying these huge instruments to and from the bus every day for years? That's going to be you. And she said, no flute. And it's because her teachers bragged on her when she tried on the trombone. She was like, okay, me and the trombone. Okay. Because, us Gemini queens over here. Okay. So very close knit family. Cool. And you said you're 46?
47.
Okay. So we're in the same generation. I just turned 46.
Okay.
Oh. What was New Jersey like culturally in your teen years?
New Jersey in my teen years, so we're looking at the 90s. That was when I was, in middle and high school, and pretty cool. A very diverse population. In many ways, a very diverse population. There's like a real wide diversity of thought here, diversity of race and religion, ethnicity, all that stuff. There's a lot of people kind of think in a lot of different ways. It's a very educated state. A lot of people with like graduate degrees and stuff like that. And lots of arts. During the 90s, I believe, was when the New Jersey Performing Arts Center was built in Newark, New Jersey, a place that I'm still a donor and member and attend regularly. And we have, live music, less than we used to, but live music all over the place, and very robust school music programs. And so,
that's cool.
Very artistic, very culturally rich. We have great museums, especially in the city of Newark. We have the Newark Museum, and the Liberty Science Center in Jersey City, and, the Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island and all that, obviously. So,
yeah.
Very rich culturally.
Yes. The time I went, I was going to go visit Ellis Island. It was closed.
Oh,
because a hurricane had happened. I can't even remember. I don't even remember what year it was that I was trying. I think it was like 2011, 2012. I think it was after Sandy. I could be wrong. I'm just thinking, but Ellis Island, I really wanted to go to Ellis Island specifically with my son because he is really connected to his Greek heritage through his dad. Like, they've done a really good job of teaching that and passing it down, like letting them know where you're from, whatever. And they have copies of the page that they signed on Ellis Island, but I wanted him to see it in writing because I can't find anyone from my family that came over through Ellis Island. So I'm like, well, okay, for you. So I was really bummed about that. That's so cool that you've been like raised around so much rich culture. So it really you didn't have to struggle in identity wanting to go into the arts of
No.
some kind. Yeah.
No, between where I grew up and, my dad and everything, my uncle's also a professional musician. So no, that was not a struggle for me at all.
That's cool. That's really cool. Okay, so you graduate high school. You are a teacher, so you've gone to college. What was your college years like?
Funny you should ask that. So I went to NYU for a couple of years, wasn't crazy about it, transferred to New Jersey City University, didn't take it super seriously, and ended up stopping. We'll call it dropout. It was more like just sort of slowly stopped going. And it actually wasn't until after I met my wife, got married, and sort of, was I a dad too? No, but darn close to it, until I actually went back and finished my bachelor's degree in my early 30s at New Jersey City University. I got a bachelor's degree in jazz music performance. So it's the weird thing. I don't know if this is off the topic or not, but I think a lot about how the understanding in this country is that, if you're going to go to college, the time to do it is right after high school.
Right.
A gap year has become sort of common. It was not back then, but even that, it's just like a gap year, not like a gap decade, right?
Right.
So the understanding.
Hey guys, it's me. Emotionally Unavailable is produced 100% in-house by me with no team. So if this show has ever helped you and you want to give back, subscribe to the Patreon. There's several different levels with different benefits in each. Check the show notes and you can see what each tier subscription will get you. There's also lots of fun things coming down the pipeline for the Patreon subscribers. So get in early. You can get a workbook, you can buy merch, you can do any of the things, and all of that supports the show to help it keep going. Really appreciate every single one of you. I love you so much, and I can't wait to see what we continue to do together.
Is that the people that not everyone's college bound, and I think that's awesome, by the way. But for those that are, the understanding is that within a year max of graduating high school, you're in it. And I wasn't in that headspace at all. I was a good student in high school. I got into a good college, but I just wasn't. I wasn't in a place where I was ready to be taken that seriously. So it wasn't until I got into my 30s. I got married. I was a homeowner, and I just had gained a little bit more maturity and perspective, and sort of a sense of who I am and my values, that it became really important to me to do well in school. So then I went and I got my bachelor's, and then within about 7 years of that, I'd gotten my master's, and now I'm about a dissertation away from my PhD in education policy as well.
Holy shit. Wow. Oh, the dissertation is the part that I said, no.
Yeah. I stopped for a while after my wife passed away, and then I'm going to start again. I'm being re-matriculated in this coming fall.
Okay. So how old were you when you got married?
20. I was just thinking of this because I thought I was 30. I had just turned 30 like 4 days before it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my experience was kind of similar with college, but I got married way too young. I got married at 20, and I had tried terrible student in high school, terrible, because I had a lot of childhood trauma. So I had trauma brain. School was not it for me. I was not thriving in any way, hated the social aspect, and my dad died when I was 15. So I felt really above it all and way smarter than all my like great, go to college, I know what life's really about. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But then I had dreams. What I do now has always been my dream. So I was like, I want to be a therapist, I want to whatever, so that's going to require college. I tried. Oh, did I try? 18 immediately, first semester. I just kind of quit going to class about 6 weeks in. Didn't drop my classes, so I got Fs. Some teachers mercifully withdrew me, but others were like F. And I said, oh, that does not feel good. And different from you, I was putting a ton of pressure on myself and applying a lot of shame and morality around the fact that I wasn't doing, quote unquote, what I was supposed to be doing. Then I think I took a semester off and then tried again. Same thing. I think I maybe made it a couple weeks longer, and then I took a while off, and I took probably a year off, went back, had one really good semester, one okay semester, and then had to take off because my mom was dying. And then I got pregnant, and on purpose at 22, like all smart people do. And that's when I got really serious. Like, I was like, honestly, it had nothing to do with anything other than I was struggling in identity and being a college student and like being the one that the teachers really liked for the first time in my life, and my younger peers looking to me as some sort of role model. Like all of those things really validated my existence outside of motherhood. So that's probably why I did so well at college during those years. But anyway, okay, so how long has your wife been gone?
It's been about 2.5 years.
Oh,
And by
not
the way,
very
I'm really
long.
sorry about both your parents. That
Oh,
sucks.
thank you. Thank you.
Especially at that young of an age.
Well, I'm sorry
so it
about
was
your
about
wife.
2.5 years ago. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, 2.5 years is not very long. So, okay, so now it's making sense to me why you are so passionate about the things that you're so passionate about. So the thing that really drew me to you was your passion around connection. And I'm wondering, did this grow in your grief? Because that's the thing that I've become very passionate about the last 6 months. My grief processes with my parents, I was very young, so I just had to survive those experiences, and have been actually unpacking all of the ways in which I completely fucked myself in those survival mechanisms all of these years, right? So I lost my dad and my son like 30 years apart. And it's all very similar and it's bizarre. So I've had to make a lot of reflections about how I dealt with it then versus how I deal with it now. And I think what I'm learning is humans really are so afraid of connection because we need it so desperately. And I'm wondering, I feel like there's two camps, and maybe I'm wrong about this because I hear a lot of the angry, righteous grievers a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand them because I've had that grief process where you are so pissed at everyone who didn't show up for you. I'm putting that in air quotes. This time, though, I kind of have learned, like, I have to give people grace, and I have to understand they don't know how to show up for me if I'm not telling them how. So I'm wondering, is that how your like passion for connection really grew, was in your isolation periods during grief?
Largely, but I would say most of it grew beforehand after she had been diagnosed metastatic.
Okay.
So I think she was diagnosed originally back in 2012.
Okay, and you guys had been married for how long at that point?
Like 4 years.
Okay, and you have children?
We have a daughter who was 1 at the time.
Okay.
She's 14 now.
Was it metastatic breast cancer?
Yes.
Okay, was it hormone related?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So she was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer back in 2012. Went through a mastectomy, radiation, chemotherapy, the whole 9 yards back then. We thought we were in the clear, and then 2019 is when she was diagnosed metastatic. And that was about the time, no coincidence, I'm sure, that I started thinking and writing a lot about it was a combination of that, and then I probably not unrelated, I got into Buddhism about the same time.
Okay, yes.
And there was a related thread between my recognizing what was the inevitability of my wife's death, and then sort of being trained in the idea of I wouldn't say detachment because that's not correct, but non-attachment to the world and to like the inputs that entered into my consciousness, just sort of like non-attachment to them. Like, yeah, they're there. Yeah, I'm recognizing them. Yeah, they suck, but they are not who I am.
Yes.
So, and then I was reading and learning a lot about the Buddhist principles of interdependence.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, lo and behold, wouldn't you know, the COVID-19 happens, and then George Floyd happens, and I'm looking at how our nation is responding to these crises, and
Yes.
some of the very unhealthy, unproductive, sort of insular. A lot of people were thinking about these things in very insular ways, and it was troubling to me, especially when I was starting to recognize how interdependent we all really are, and the influence that we have on each other that extends in ways beyond we could ever understand, right? And here, everyone is getting like super tribal, and
Oh, that's so true. I guess I was not even thinking in those terms, but you're so right.
in my identification of how people deal
No,
with
but that's a great
interdependence or lack
description.
thereof,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just an evolutionary thing. It's like human nature. We get,
Yes.
especially in times of crisis, we get super involved in ourselves, our most immediate family, our most immediate self-interest, and we stop thinking about how inextricably we're connected to everybody else.
Right.
And that's when I started thinking about that a lot, and that's when I started writing about that a lot. I started a blog back in 2019, or maybe it was 2020. It was probably 2020, but that's not important. What's important was I started vlogging about it then, and then the book became a sort of an outgrowth of that writing that I was doing back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when your wife was diagnosed as metastatic in 2019, was it pretty clear from the get-go that it was going to be terminal?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It had already spread pretty fast.
Yeah. We didn't know how long. We would go online and read the statistics, but I was certainly optimistic that it would go far beyond the averages, and it ended up lasting just about exactly like the average. Pretty average. It was just about 5 years after diagnosis that she passed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Were most of those 5 years pretty good, or was there a lot of like kind of shit at those last couple?
A lot of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've worked in hospice. I did for a long time. So some of
that,
that,
you're a
it's,
saint.
again, average. Like there's like typical disease processes. Every now and then you see a really good one and you're so surprised by it. But yeah, those last couple of years of a metastatic disease can just be brutal. So I can't even imagine how you were doing with that while raising such a young child.
Mm-hmm. It
Did
was
so much
challenging.
of your like thinking around this like tribal attitude of people and you learning so much about interdependence, did some of that assuage whatever like fears were rising up in you from everything you were experiencing on a personal level and the societal trauma we were all kind of experiencing?
100%, yes. Absolutely. So the reason I started writing and thinking about this so much, and the reason I eventually, published this book about it, is exactly that. Is because that was all part of my process of thinking about the incongruence of, like you said, what I was seeing in society and what. So I'll give you in the preface of my book, I talk about this actually, that in the last weeks, honestly, of my wife's life, a former student of hers created a Gmail account and had a bunch of her students write emails to that account talking about, she was a music teacher as well. She was like my mentor, actually. Not officially, just sort of unofficially, my mentor. And where they were sent her emails about kind of the impact that they had, the influence that she had on them, not only as musicians and actors and singers, but really just as human beings, spouses, parents, citizens, like the whole 9 yards. And it was pretty remarkable to see these come in. like I said, there were some people saying like, oh, I learned that I was actually a decent singer. You had confidence in me. And a lot of it had to do with that. But I would say at least as much, if not more, was about, uh, people finding their confidence, people finding their people, people realizing that they can accomplish hard things, people learning, about their core values and who they are and who they want to be, people learning about, watching the way Karen and I were raising our daughter, people learning about the type of parents that they wanted to be. And I just, I was thinking about, it's a stark relief the way we have this influence on people. And you don't think about it at the time. Everyone's so busy, right? And everyone's caught up in their own thing. And I get it. I'm not, judging anybody. I do it too. But we don't think about all these interactions that we have day in, day out, the effect, the influence that we're having on people, that karma that we're pushing out into the world. It's like it's rippling out in ways that we could never understand. And those emails really put that into relief for me. And
oh, I bet.
Sort of really, really like calcified in my mind. I shouldn't use calcified in a metastatic breast cancer conversation, but it really calcified in my mind, like why publishing at this point was important to me, why it meant a lot to me at this time. Those emails were sort of like the straw that broke the camel's back.
I love that. So just to clarify, you're saying that really made you consider what your impact is?
What everyone's is.
Impacting? Yeah. You know what's weird? I've thought about that since I was like a kid, like little kid, for some reason. Like oftentimes now in my belief system that I have now, I really wonder if so much of the weird stuff that I was thinking at like 5, 6, 7, 8 was like this version of me who does so much like inner child work and is going back and like constantly revisiting an age that was pretty tenuous or whatever, and just constantly nurturing that version of me, or like a future version, just my highest self in general. I always wonder, like, is this a butterfly effect type situation? Because I had the most bizarre thoughts. I was constantly thinking about essentially quantum physics as like a 6-year-old. Like, I really believe there's a version of me 2 minutes faster than this, or some other reality. 6 years old. I don't know why I was sitting around randomly thinking about stuff like that. But impact was something that I thought about a lot. Now, also, I'm into astrology and I'm a Leo moon. So, I do in some ways feel like I was built for some stage somewhere. So that is part of it. I definitely wanted to be seen as a thought leader, even in elementary school. Wasn't in elementary school, but still.
And yet here you are.
Right, exactly. And so I think about that a lot. But when I really started, you said ripple, and once I really went through healing and had a spiritual awakening, it's something I started to learn for myself and then teach all of my clients is like, when you change, the world around you changes. Just you figuring your stuff out is a natural byproduct of that. Is like your immediate family can't ever be the same because their interactions with you won't ever be the same. And they take that love and they take it out into the world without ever even realizing it, that that's what they're doing. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it is important for us to think about what our vibrations are doing to any space, and just hope that the people will take that love that you're providing, however you're providing it, and take it out to the world with them and give more love,
I can add nothing to that. That's
no.
Other than to say, I it's more than hope. I think that way more often than not, they do.
I do too. I really do. Wow. Okay. So how old is your daughter now?
14.
14. Okay. Wow. So she was like my daughter's age whenever she lost her mom.
Yep.
So how did all of this, the things you were learning in 2019-20, how has that helped you in your grief?
I write about that in the book also too. The number one way it helped me in my grief was helping me to realize that I am not my grief. The grief is something that I experience. It's an emotion that I experience. And that helps me, first of all, not identify with it, which to me is the most important thing. To me, sort of the hidden message of my whole book, and not just my book, but my whole like project, is identity. Like, I think we tend to cling to impermanent aspects of our identity so closely, and it's an obstacle to living into full interdependence. And so when I made the decision, it was a conscious decision, and it required practice. It required a lot of meditation and a lot of thought. But when I made the decision to not identify with my grief, then it just became something that I experienced. It didn't become who I was. And that helped me to see it as a gift, because the grief was a reminder that I had something really special and something really important, and that the reason that I was sad about it was because it's gone. But also my work around interdependence, and we talk about the ripples, and you mentioned the butterfly effect and all that stuff, and the emails and all these things, has me thinking at the time, and still to this day, that I don't believe that we really ever do die in a real sense, because our ripples, our influence, our karma, our whatever you want to call it, our vibrations, whatever you want to call it, are still rippling.
Yeah.
In very obvious ways, like my daughter, my wife's students, her family, me, but also in like ways, like I keep saying, it's getting kind of trite, but like in ways we can never fully comprehend or process.
Right.
So that helped my grief as well, to realize that, she's not gone. And it's not a cliche like, oh, she still lives in us, she still lives in my daughter. She very much still is alive in me and my daughter in so many ways, like not spiritual, but that matters too, but tangible, calculable ways that she still exists in me, in my daughter, in our home, in her students, and in everything that she's ever touched and influenced. So yeah, that has helped my grief as well.
Yeah, I bet. So, I'm wondering what you mean specifically when you say identify as your grief, or, like that your grief is you. What does that mean to you?
So as someone that's done a lot of Buddhist work, I don't believe in the idea of an essential, permanent self, right? I don't believe that like there is anything here or in here that is Joe. I believe that we're just sort of like, I'm not going to get into the theology of it, but we're just like a bunch of different processes, right? We're a brain, we're a body, we're our thoughts, we're our feelings, and none of these things are permanent. They're always changing. Even at the cellular level, we're always changing. So there's nothing permanent about me. So I don't really believe, when I say I don't identify with my grief, that means that I am not my grief, but nor am I my body, nor am I my brain, nor am I my feelings or my emotions. I'm not my political beliefs. I'm not my values. I'm not my grief. I'm not my ethnicity, my national heritage. I'm none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Those are just characteristics. And they're important.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're not important, because all these things are important. They're a part of like who I am, but they're not me.
Right.
So that's what I mean when I don't identify, and not identifying with these impermanent, non-essential aspects of me has made all the difference in my life. Not just with my grief, but in everything, the way I process every thought that comes in my mind, all the emotions I feel, even physical pain, illness. It's not who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that really is a problem that we have, huh? Is just over-identifying with things. Yeah. Especially, like I said this earlier, like as a young mom figuring out identity, that was so weird to me, having to learn I don't quite identify only as this child's mother, but what does that mean? Aren't I supposed to only identify as this child's mother? Like it was a really weird conundrum where I was in real time challenging all of the beliefs I was raised with without even recognizing it, like deconstructing so many of those beliefs, but covered in shame for it. Like that was the thing for me, was really being okay with whatever I believe to be my truth and not feeling shame around it. That was really a stretch where I'm still uncovering so much hidden shame around so many things. It's like always there a little bit, but I think being able to question why you're thinking what you're thinking or why you're feeling what you're feeling is so important. So you kind of that's the feeling I got from what you were saying too, is like you don't lean in to your thought processes or your emotions too strongly. Like you're a little more curious about them. You don't believe them to be the truth.
That's the perfect word. I was going to say I do lean in, but you know what? Curious is better. Because what I am is I'm curious about what I'm feeling physically, emotively, my conscious thoughts, all that stuff. I'm very curious about it, but I don't necessarily follow it.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is when I'm at my
Yeah.
best too. Like if
Well, sure.
something's like, if I'm experiencing road rage, in
Yeah,
20
yeah,
minutes,
yeah.
all this is going to be gone, right? I'm
Sure.
just talking about at my best. This is my guiding ethos, right?
Or in retrospect, sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes, my autopilot takes over and I act like a fool. And then later I have to be like, what was that about? I wonder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and what I teach people too is like accountability isn't beating yourself up. It's not like this cross of perfectionism. It's literally going, how did I feel when I was experiencing that? And how could I feel better next time? Truly.
100%. 100%.
Wow.
Accountability gets a bad rap, but accountability is good. It's associating, like you say, guilt and shame with accountability. That's when it becomes more problematic.
Yes, morality, meaning where they don't belong. Ugh, the judgments, right?
Yep.
Let me think just for a second because there was a question I had. Oh, are you then also kind of in when you're making conscious decisions or when you're being curious about your thought processes or emotional experiences, are you oftentimes trying to figure out what your subconscious belief under that was or like your patterns, things like that?
Yes, but not. That's not like something that's not like something that's super important to me.
Okay.
Maybe if I had more, I don't say problematic, but more unproductive thoughts and emotions that I didn't understand, maybe I would try to do that. But like you said,
Yeah.
like a lot of what has been bothering me for the last 7 years has been my wife's illness and death. So it wasn't like, why is this bothering me so much? What?
Sure.
I mean, of course I understand why this is bothering me so much. So like, yeah, I don't find myself too often like exploring whatever's going on subconsciously. But I think we all introspective people do that from time to time.
Sure. Sure. So what I'm wondering, because I feel like both of my parents' deaths were fairly traumatic, and then my son's was obviously traumatic. I'm wondering if you identified any like traumatic responses, even though you were pretty well prepared for the fact that your wife was going to die. Like, have you experienced symptoms essentially of PTSD after, where like the number one thing that specifically my older son and I have experienced is the intense fear of something happening to one of us that's left. That's something I struggled with ever since my dad died. So it's like really escalated now. But is that something that you or like your daughter have experienced?
You brought up my daughter, and that was what I was gonna say. Two things. I don't feel like I've had anything that I would even put in the same conversation as PTSD, but I did have for many months, if not at least a year after she passed, feelings of, I don't want to say regret, but like regret adjacent type feelings. Like, did I do enough? Did I seek the best care? Did I take care of her in the best way?
Yeah.
Did we make the right decision to go to transition to hospice care when we did? Should I have gotten more opinion? So yeah, like there was a lot of that. And I've intellectually reconciled with the fact that, she and I both did, and as did her family. And, we did do pretty much everything we could. And
Yeah.
I've come to peace with it. But yeah, that was something I dealt with at the time. But you bring up my daughter, and yeah, I think that there's probably some fear there. Like, she knows if I have a doctor's appointment, I find she asks a lot of questions about it,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was something that, like, we really sat my daughter down after her brother died and was like, look, here's the deal. The people if you've ever heard anyone talk about, like, yes, your older brother has a medical marijuana card. So if you know about that, like, yeah, that's not something we've ever discussed before, but now we're going to, because I know you've overheard things the last few days. And I want you to know those aren't the types of drugs that Jake was doing. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
not what Jake was doing. All of us are safe. We could not have seen this coming. You were a great sister. I mean, we were like nailing it all out, like right away, like, because there was some other stuff too, but we were just trying to let her know, like, from the beginning, like, it's okay and it's normal to feel worried about something happening to the rest of us, but we are pretty confident that we're all safe. I mean, we can't
Mm-hmm.
predict the future, but like, none of us are doing the things that Jake was doing. I
Hmm.
promise you, like, we're not doing those things. So I think it helped, but she also doesn't talk about her feelings very much at 12. So, so we
She's
all did the grief
12.
group and stuff. Yeah. We did express it through art and things, and we supported her by going to our own group and whatever. But yeah, even before losing Jake, because I've worked in hospice so long, one of the things that I did after leaving, like, full time, I worked in grief, like in bereavement services, and kind of started theorizing over, like, a formula. Like, if I were to say the three main things to deal with in grief, these are the three. And one of the things was dealing with the physical aspects of the loss, like
Mm-hmm.
how you will be either, like, usually much less energy. Your appetite's going to change one way or the other. Your sleep's going to be different. Like, everything about who you kind of were before is in physical form. Even there, like, that's going to change, and to just roll with it, be like almost an observer of it. Like, don't criticize it, don't judge it, just be with it. Is that something that was difficult for you, or were you able to just kind of roll with that?
No, it was difficult for me. I gained a lot of weight. Um,
Okay.
like a lot. And which was unfortunate because I had, you know, around the time my wife was diagnosed, I had lost about 80, 90 pounds. So, I was in really good shape. And then as she started to decline, and then after she passed, I didn't gain 90 back, but,
Oh, yeah. I know
a
how that goes.
a good deal of it. So, yeah, and I think that was all part of I think, like, emotional and physical, because, there's, I think there are, in addition to, like, the emotional aspect of it, there are things like, stress hormones and inflammation and things like that that just make that
Yes.
exponentially worse than just
Yes.
straight up emotional eating. It's all compounded by
Mhm.
the physical processes as well. So yeah, that was, that was a big part of it. I feel a lot better now. I've, lost most of the weight that I gained back, but I'm not quite back
Yeah.
to where I want to be, but I'm doing a lot better.
Yeah. How long did
Yeah.
it take you after losing her to be anywhere near ready to address, like, eating differently? Because I know we're 6
Yeah.
months in, and now I'm starting to care a little bit more about my
Mhm.
health and whatever again, but, I didn't at all.
That
So,
sounds about, I don't remember exactly, but that sounds about right.
well,
Yeah.
and I am noticing now, just now in the last couple weeks, much less inflammation
Mm-hmm.
overall, like much less puffy in every way,
Mm-hmm.
much less achy, much less tired. Like, so
Yeah.
6 months must be like a decent little marker, because I was looking the other day, I'm like, wow, I'm not near as swollen as I was. Like, it was
Yeah.
weird. I've never swelled like that. I mean, I've
Mm-hmm.
always had a little bit of like easy to swell, whatever, but I was like, dang, I am like really puffy. And it was wild because I wasn't eating that much differently. There were times when I would be like sugar, but I've always been that way. Like, I
Yeah.
really haven't, but it was pure stress. I mean, I could feel from just the traumatic event of finding him and stuff. It was immediate. My whole body was like, "Oh, we don't know what to do with this," and that all
100%.
that inflammation started. I remember looking in the mirror like day 3 of no sleep and being like, "This is aging me 5 years. What the
Well,
hell?"
and then you bring up the no sleep, so it's like one thing, the immediate stress response, which creates all these sort of chemical processes in your body that are not super good for you. But then that contributes to no sleep, which contributes to even more stress response, contributes to poor eating habits, which contributes to even more stress response, poor movement habits, which contributes to even more stress response. It's a
The
it's a
poor
vicious
movement.
circle. It's a vicious
Yes.
circle.
I'm only just now motivated, even okay, when I say motivated, I'm really thinking strongly right now about starting to, like, the most I've thought about it in 6 months, right? I'm
Yeah.
really thinking about movement now. But yes, the lack of movement, I could feel that too. I was like, "Ooh, all of this, all it," cuz I had my older son and I had just started going back to the gym a few months before Jake died. So, we were, getting more active. I was lifting weights. I was feeling so much better,
Yeah.
and then boom, and I was like, I don't feel like doing any of that. I just don't even have the capacity for anything extra right now. But yes,
Of course.
all of it was intertwined. But I think also because I've been so deliberate from day one of doing this the best that I can, not perfectly, not in a way where I'm criticizing myself or anyone else, but just like I want to experience this first person. I don't want to look back and say I should. Like, I want to be right here with the grief and understand what I can do differently now versus what I did at 15 and at 22, and just really like go through it and face it and understand like it's going to be different. There's cycles and waves of what you experience. And 6 months later doesn't feel any different than 1 month, really. I mean, it doesn't feel like that first week where you're just a fucking basket case, but like 6 months to me doesn't feel any different than like when we hit the 1 month mark. But physically, I feel so different. And I think it's because I have been intentional, but also your body just, maybe it just takes 6 months to like be okay after something like that. I don't know.
Hopefully that's the first step on the path to a more complete recovery for you.
I hope I am like for real feeling joy at the thought of walk running and trying to get back in like 5K shape. That makes, like, for no other reason than like I want to, where I used to be really hard on myself about it. Okay. So tell us what you're doing now, aside from obviously you're a music teacher stuff, but like, what is this space that you're in and where we can find you?
So I am a full-time music teacher. That's what I do by day. I'm also a professional musician, so I do that by night and weekend. And then in terms of, this thinking that we're doing here today, I did just complete a book, my first book called An Endless Knot, which refers to the fact that we're all kind of like connected to each other.
Love
Um,
that.
and that was self-published. You can find information about that on Amazon or Goodreads and all that stuff. Or you can go to my website, jelefante.com. And that's Elefante with an F, Elefante with an F.com. And you can find out about, where I'm speaking and what I'm speaking about, the book, the next book project that I'm working on, and
Oh, you've
my
already
writing
got a
I'm
next
doing.
book project? Dang.
I am, it's slow. I'm working full time and I'm a single dad. So it's a slow process, but I am working through, another book project, which is a little bit more spiritual. It's a little bit more about like
Ooh.
my spiritual framework.
Yeah, I want you to come back on and talk to me about your Buddhism and stuff.
I will. Yeah. So actually the book is about sort of, cause I practice, I practice Buddhism, but I'm also a practicing Catholic. So I'm writing a book about, how those
The intersection.
the intersection. Well, pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so cool.
Mhm.
Well, I've loved having you. I will make sure that I include all of that in the show notes.
Thank you.
And this was such a joy. I appreciate you and your willingness to have such a vulnerable conversation.
It was my privilege and my pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I'm going to press stop if you'll hang out for 1 sec.
Sounds good.
Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share.
Emotionally unavailable.
All right, that's it from me. So make sure that you check out the show notes for links. And until next time, let's all just keep swimming.
INDEPE and cut.
The grill is shot. The chairs are held together by optimism. And what happened to the rug? Sounds like your outdoor setup is not ready for patio season. Fix it all with Wayfair. Shop Wayfair for grills, rugs, furniture, and more. With 20 million 5-star reviews, room of choice delivery, and expert setup on qualifying orders, it's never been easier to do more for less. Get 10% off your first eligible purchase. Hurry to wayfair.com or download the app now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.